Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we will talk about the importance of debt jubilee ataupun mengapa pelupusan hutang itu penting untuk sesuatu ekonomi sekarang ni, ya, zaman sekarang ni. Why debt jubilee is important is that today's monetary system is actually based on a debt system. Artinya most of the money that is circulating in the economy today, they start their journey as money in the form of debt, hutang. Kalau kita tengok di statistics untuk jumlah wang dalam peredaran di Malaysia, 95% atau lebih daripada wang dalam peredaran adalah wang yang dicipta oleh bank sebagai hutang. Alright? Hanya 5% ataupun kurang daripada 5% adalah wang kertas, ya, yang dikeluarkan oleh bank negara macam inilah. Wang kertas macam ini dikeluarkan oleh bank negara, tapi kuantitinya adalah 5% ataupun kurang aja. Jadi macam mana wang tu boleh jadi hutang, boleh jadi wang? Jadi let's say when we go to a bank and borrow some loan, so that loan will be given to us only created to the accounting numbers, right? It's not real money that they give you. It's just an accounting number given to you as a loan. That number, let's say I take a business loan, then the bank gives me a loan, and I can use those numbers in the books. I can buy things from other people. So money will then change hands and then create economic activity. Yeah. So in other words, most of the money in the system is in the form of debt, and debt you have to pay interest on it, compound interest on it. Your bank doesn't give money without interest. Yeah. So the interest portion is exponential. Artinya it will grow at an exponential rate when you borrow money. So you have to pay back more than what was borrowed. See? And because the debt is growing exponentially, generally the real economy ultimately will not be able to pay, because the real economy means economy that produces, let's say, the tables, produces food, that economy cannot match the exponential growth of money in the system, which is debt. So the growth will cause growth in money and growth in economy which is less than that. It will cause a gap between these two. That means there will be more money compared to the real economy, causing inflation, all right? Causing disparity in income and wealth distribution. That means there will be some people becoming richer and some becoming poorer and so on, okay? So when the debt grows to a level that the economy, the ordinary person cannot bear the debt, then the economy will, what we call the debt will burst, which means there will be a reversal. That's when recessions and things like that will happen. So today in Malaysia, for example, the amount, if you check the statistics from Bank Negara's website, there is more money in the system than the size of our economy. Whether the economy we are measuring in ringgit terms, which is nominal GDP, or even real GDP, which is measured at a constant price, right? So what we notice is that there's too much of money, which means there's too much of debt in the system, and we are going to default. The people are defaulting. Bank Negara, the statistics here some time ago, even Bank Negara reported the household debt is already about 93%. 93% of the GDP already, household debt, right? And tens of thousands of people are becoming bankrupts every year, and many of them are youngsters, young people. They have not even started life yet, they have already been declared as bankrupt, you know. So the economic system today is there in that situation. The system needs a reset. A reset is necessary for Malaysia now. Take for example even the recent budget, presented by our finance minister, who is also the prime minister. You know, Malaysian debt is 1.2 trillion now. This is the government debt. 1.2 trillion, we are paying just the interest portion of it, 46 billion. You know, then we need another about 53 billion for development budget, to develop for development. And these two money, to pay the old loan and also to pay for development, the government had to borrow money. The money from hasil, which is from the revenue, is not enough. The money from the hasil or revenue is only enough to pay for the administration cost of the government. So how much is 1.2 trillion? Many people, they can't imagine how much is 1.2 trillion. If you pay 1 million ringgit back every day, which is 365 million ringgit per year, there's a lot of money. But just to pay back the 1.2 trillion, it will take about 3,000 years, more than 3,000 years. So you can imagine how big the Malaysian debt is. So the system is unsustainable, clearly. We cannot go on financing our country's budget by borrowing money to pay back old loan and borrowing money for development. So clearly we are in an unsustainable position. People are suffering. So just today, there is a news that the Prime Minister is saying to allow people put KWSP savings, our EPF savings, as collateral or cagaran to take more loans. So you are going to take more loans by putting that as your KWSP as collateral. And many people don't know that in a debt system like this, it is designed for default. Some people must default because the interest portion of loans that need to be repaid, the interest portion does not exist in the form of money in the system. Okay? So, which means that's very dangerous to allow KWSP as a collateral. People are going to lose more of their KWSP also, which we don't want. So the way to move forward is to give the economy a reset and debt jubilee ataupun pelupusan hutang of both public and private. Where possible we must lupuskan hutang and we reset the economy and put everybody's position in a back to a starting position so that the life of everybody will get better after this. Otherwise, you're going to see a terrible economic downturn and many people will not be able to even afford food. That's why we're talking about food security in Malaysia, which we shouldn't. Malaysia is a very fertile land, right? You throw anything, it will grow. So why are we talking about food security? It's not because of lack of food or production. It is because something is disturbing or disrupting the system. What it is the financial and monetary system, which is not allowing people to have enough funds. In economics, we call liquidity, so that transactions can take place, right? So a debt jubilee must be given. What is debt jubilee? At least you must write off at least the interest portion of all loans. People pay back only the principal, If we can write off the principal also, is even better. If the economy is in a very bad shape, then we may have to write off everything and give everybody a clean slate to start their life and continue their life. You see, this present system is actually a very faulty system. That's why, because those who are creating money out of nothing, which is the banking system, they will benefit from the system because they are creating money out of nothing. The rest of the economy is borrowing money. We become debtors. See, so basically, what a debt jubilee will do is that it will allow us to reshape the economy, allow us to rebalance the economy back again. Ibn Khaldun once said that if you want to know when an economy is time for its downfall, the time for a kingdom's downfall, you just go to the market and take a look, and you'll find that a lot of businesses, will be owned by a small number of people. That is what is happening today. The system of that system is creating wealth to accumulate in the small hands of small people, and the rest of the economy are pushed into, basically, slowly into poverty, and the poverty size will be rising. You see, so basically the entire world is in such a situation, right? It is a complete failure of this monetary system. So, and the rebalance is necessary, and we need to fight for this from the government to help us, so that the society can continue to move forward. Yeah. So, for example, in those days, historically, debt jubilee is something not, it is commonly done periodically. Because kingdoms and kings, they knew, if you do not give a debt jubilee to the system, then there is a danger their own kingdom will collapse. You see? So they will announce debt jubilee, including in those days even the releasing of or freeing of slaves and so on. Not only debt, but also freeing of slaves. Yeah. So these are the means to actually preserve the kingdom. Yeah? So we have to do that now. Malaysia and many other most countries have come to that situation. We need to give this debt jubilee so that we as a society can reshape ourselves, rebalance ourselves, and continue life as a society. The current monetary system that we are having, when we call it a fiat monetary system. Fiat means there is no backing to the money. It's just pieces of paper. For example, if I take this, 20 ringgit here, you go to Bank Negara, this thing, if you ask for gold, they're not going to give you gold or anything. But in those days, in the olden days, if you take money to the central bank, you can actually redeem for gold, and we call that gold standard. So gold standard or silver standard, where you can redeem for silver, those were the monetary system. If you can redeem for gold and silver, then it's called bimetallism. So the silver, gold and silver played as money in most human civilizations. But other things were also used. For example, salt and other precious metals and so forth. Wheat, barley, and things like that were also used as money. So these are all real things. So when we use real things as money, then it is a fair transaction, because if I take something from you and then I give you something of equal value that you value as to be equal, so we exchange. So it's a fair transaction, right? But fiat money is where pieces of paper are given to you, or money that is not backed by any asset, including even electronic money of today. They are not backed by any asset. So that's also fiat money. So we are not allowed to create fiat money because of that, because it's unfair. If I am allowed to create fiat money, I will just create, make a printer, and then I will be able to buy things. So it is made illegal for me to create fiat money. But someone still got to create it. You see? So that's the problem with fiat money, is that it gives an unfair advantage to the first person who uses the money. And that's where all the problem actually starts. Okay, fiat money. So in Malaysia, for example, not many people know, the original ringgit is a 20-gram silver coin. And even the logo, the Kijang logo you find used by Bank Negara, is actually it is a logo that you used to find on the gold coin, the kupang. So you see, in Malaysia also we used gold and silver as money before 1860, when commercial banks were established in the state settlements. They started to print pieces of paper as a ringgit, and that gave them a very unfair advantage. And then you can see what happened to the economy. The economy was overturned. The economic dominance was overturned when pieces of paper were printed as ringgit. Okay, So that is the situation now, and you'll be surprised when we use gold and silver as money, inflation will disappear. Inflation will practically disappear. Why? Because it is basically exchanging real value for real value. It's not that you create value out of nothing like the present system. So temporary price increases can take place, which we cannot call them inflation. For example, let's say we are using gold as money, and there is a flood that destroyed, let's say, the paddy field. So the paddy or rice in that season will go up. In the next season, when the weather is okay, then you will find that the prices will come back to normal again. You see? So that's the characteristics of real money. When you back, even the fiat money, if you paper money backed by gold, that's all you will get. So that is the situation of the fiat money of today. So so that fiat money has given so much of advantage to people who actually control it, people who produce it. All right. So we, as a public now, it's time for us to go back to some kind of backing by real asset. And gold and silver are among the best. There is one book written by a professor called his name was Roy Jastram. The book is the Golden Constant. So with about 400 years of data, when he priced things, relative to gold, he found that it is a constant. Which means, when you price items out with the gold, there is no inflation at all, even for 400 years. But that's not true for Malaysia, even for ringgit. 1 ringgit today maybe can buy you 1 roti canai. But during my younger days in Malaysia, in Penang, roti canai was only 10 cents. 1 ringgit could buy you 10 roti canais. So within the last 50 years, you can see how the value of the ringgit has gone down. But when pricing in gold, Roy Jastram proved that there is no inflation at all. So we need to bring our economy back to this kind of situation. If not, like you see, the cost of living will continue to rise. Our younger generation will not be able to even easily own a home like the earlier generations, and you will find even the younger generation will find difficulty to even find a job, So these things are all monetary phenomenon. So we need to actually address this monetary issue, which is basically defining what money is. It is important. Defining what money is very important for an economy. All right? Thank you.